Everything you're about to hear today should be taken as entertainment purposes only. I'm not a financial advisor. You must, of course, do all your own due diligence. Yeah.
Coincidence.
Yeah.
Coincidence.
Yeah.
Coincidence.
Something that happens by chance, I think not. What's the crack, everyone? Welcome back to Buy Wholesale. I hope you are all well. Got the wife to take the shares of the hair. I think it looks alright. It looks a wee bit worse close up, but I think on the camera it looks alright. You know what I mean? Christ almighty, I ain't going great. Oh, boys and girls, it is shocking. But anyway, before we get into today's video, I just need to remind everyone to please like, share, subscribe to the channel. We're growing over 500. Aiming for 1,000, guys. It's going well. Thank you to everyone that has subscribed so far. Make sure to check out the recent Reuters article, of course, in the bio. It's a good read, guys. Also, if you haven't set up a portfolio yet and you're thinking about taking the leap into it, look into the bio as well. You'll see a link to free share. Click on that link. You and I both get a free share, which is great. But it'll be good to even hear that you're the one that clicked the link. I've got a few people that have done it, but nobody's telling me who's clicking these links. I would like to know what shares you're getting. Have a wee bit of comment back and forth on that. So yeah, check out that, guys. Free share up to £200. It'll be juicy, boys and girls. So get on that. Get me on the Instagram. I'm trying to set that up, a bit into my own personal life, but you'll get to see live trades, thoughts, comments come back and forth to me. It's going well. A lot of people have subscribed to that. It's on BHS DMV for that. And without further ado, let's get into today's video. Over the last couple of weeks, guys, it's been pretty brutal out there in the stock markets. A lot of the growth stocks, sort of stuff that's been performing very well, have taken one hell of a gaping, but there is optimism. Now, from my own research, generally speaking, March is a very turbulent month, which isn't good news to hear, but we should get a gooey run here now of maybe this week of getting your gains up. So I'm going to try and approach this week is I've bought a lot of dips, a lot of, averaging into a lot of the stuff over the last sort of 2-3 weeks, buying the dips, doing all that. My hope is now I'll be able to get a bit of a rise up this week, and maybe by Thursday and Friday, I'm going to start pulling some of that money out. Ideally, I actually am going to go quite hard and maybe try and pull out at least a third of my capital. The idea would be to buy any opportunities over this turbulent month. April is seen as the best stock month of the year, guys, so don't be fearful if things are getting pounding and you have to ride it out. April isn't far away. We're into March now, and I am excited for April month. Some of the turbulence that we've seen recently for some of the stocks that I have in the likes of Tesla rely on semiconductors, okay? And semiconductors are chips, and we're going to go into what semiconductors are in a moment, but the main purpose of this video is I see a gap in the market. I see an opportunity to buy in the semiconductor stocks. The reason being is if there's a shortage, it'll only drive up the demand. So I feel that that's a good opportunity to strike this month. I'm a bit cautious, like I said. I don't want to be going into too many new investments. I'm trying to average into my own current ones, trying to get them to a point where I can maybe release some capital. So it's a wee bit of an interesting month coming up here for me now. But we've got good things in the pipeline. We've got the Twitter poll, guys. That's going well. We're going to find out what the winner of that is, and I'm going to be doing a video on that. We're coming up to the month now on the Invest account, so I'm going to be putting out an update on that. We'll see how the stocks are doing. As of now, you can imagine 3 weeks of poundings, and I only started that 3 weeks ago. You can imagine how that account's going, but I'm excited for you to see that. So there's plenty of exciting stuff coming up here, but in terms of stocks, guys, this one today is about semiconductors, and I believe that this is going to be not only something for now, but for the long term, guys. So let's get into it. So what is a semiconductor? A semiconductor is a material product usually comprised of silicon, which conducts electricity more than an insulator, such as glass, but less than pure conductors, such as copper and aluminium. So they can be altered to suit the component, okay, that they need to be used for. So also known as chips, semiconductors can be found in thousands of products such as computers, smartphones, appliances, gaming hardware, and medical equipment. And we also know EVs. Investors should bear in mind that a semiconductor industry is highly cyclical one, subject to periodic booms and busts. Okay, so that's something to bear in mind. There's highs and lows, and equipment's always changing. Broadly speaking, semiconductors fall into four main product categories. Memory chips serve as temporary storehouses of data and pass information to and from computer devices. Brains consolidation of the memory market continues, driving prices so low that only a few giants like Toshiba, Samsung, NEC can afford to stay in the game. Microprocessors. There are several processing units that contain the basic logic to perform tasks. Intel's domination in the microprocessor segment can force nearly every other competitor, with the exception of AMD. Commodity integrated circuits, sometimes called standard chips. These are produced in huge batches for routine processing purposes. Dominated by large Asian chip manufacturers, the segment offers razor-thin profit margins that only the best semiconductor companies can compete for. Complex COC, system on chip, is essentially all about the creation of an integrated circuit chip with an entire system's capability on it. The market revolves around growing demand for consumer products that combine new features and lower prices, with the doors of the memory, microprocessor and commodity integrated circuit markets tightly shut. The COC segment is arguably the only one left with enough opportunity to attract a wide range of companies. Investing in the semiconductor industry, aside from investing in individual companies, there are several ways to monitor the investment performance of the overall sector. These include the benchmark. So if we go on to this, the SOX, and we'll have a look here. So it has the composed of 30 semiconductor companies weighted index. Scroll down here, we'll see some of the big boys. AMD, who I previously was a stockholder in. I was also a stockholder in ASML. Other ones that will jump out at most people will be Intel. Nvidia is another one which I've had before. Done nothing but throb. Silicon Labs, and then the big one being Taiwan Semiconductor. Without bringing up every chart, I can tell you that these here things have throbbed. But let's have a look at SOX. Okay guys, so if we pull up the year chart of the SOX, you can see here one hell of a rise, guys. You know what I mean? Absolutely throbbing. 100% over the year. And that's not surprising. Pull it back for even the 5 years historically, yes, there's maybe high dips and lows. You know, things can go down as with most stocks, but generally speaking, guys, what an upwards trajectory this has went on. You know, the main big dip was the March one, but everything went down, and that's on one hell of a rise now. Just go into Google and type in semiconductor shortage. You will see nothing but news articles over the last week, 2 weeks, month, just complaining about hit by global semiconductor shortage. Financial Times reporting that supply chain issues, so on and so forth. So let's just click a wee bit and see what is happening. Go on the BBC, chip shortage hits GM production. So they had come out last week, guys, and sort of said, you know, that's going to hinder their production of their vehicles. The automotive giant said it would cut production entirely at its 3 factories in North America next week. In addition, a factory south of Korea would run at half capacity, the car maker said on Wednesday. So we've obviously seen a drop in that share price. And it's the same for Tesla, guys. This is part of the reason why Tesla is doing so bad. Tesla's Elon Musk says US factory closed for 2 days due to parts shortages. Tesla CEO Elon Musk said the company's Fremont, California plant shut for 2 days this week due to part shortages and reopened on Wednesday. And as I said, GM, Volkswagen, Ford all hit with the shortages. You know, semiconductor shortages, we've heard about this since the PS5 was launched. Xbox shortage problems, but then we've got President Biden ordering a review of it. The president will push for a $37 billion fund to legislation to accelerate chip manufacturing in the US. So there is plenty of change, there's plenty of demand, there's plenty of need for this. You know, the Market Watch website, worldwide chip shortage is expected to last into the next year, and that's good news for semiconductor stocks. This was only brought out last week. We even scroll down here, you can see the reference symbols. Look at them all, guys. All these stocks, every single one of them, bar a couple, are throbbing. So on the Trading 212 platform, we have Van Eck Victor's Semiconductor ETF, which has only recently been added to 212, might I add, which makes you think that obviously people have requested this and they see this going forward. So let's just have a look. Taiwan Semiconductor is the biggest bit of the weight, which is probably the best out of all of them. Nvidia, ASML, Intel, Applied Materials, Inc. So these are the big holdings, and these would be the ones that I would probably individually be investing in. So I like the fact that, you know, sort of 25% of the portfolio is in the big boys, and then you've got all this other ones that are all going to be feeding into it. And AMD I would classify as a big boy, nearly so 4% of the weight as well. You're getting exposure to the whole market, and if you just compared, you know, all these ones that you see here, you know, if you can see the Intels, you see the AMDs, you see all this, you know, Skyworks Solutions, the Skyworks there, yes, of course it is. There's your Skyworks Solutions there, you know, there's your Texas Instruments. So you get an overview. Okay, so total assets, 5 billion, been around for a good while. Obviously Van Eck is big, reputable. The index is rebalanced on a quarterly basis. Fees are minor. Morningstar ratings, good, throbbing. Good bit of diversity throughout it. And if we pull up the year chart and compare this to the chart earlier on at the index, you can see that it's just been on an upwards trajectory. That's the video, guys. I really hope you enjoyed this one. I think that this is a great opportunity to get into semiconductors. You know, Tesla shortage, having to close factories because of this. We've heard about the PS5s, we've heard about the Xboxes. You know, the shortage demand for semiconductors has been on the radar. My only regret is I didn't sort of look at the market in that sense and go, well, no, there's shortages, that's going to drive demand up. I should have been balls deep in semiconductors a month ago.
If only my auntie had bollocks, she'd be my uncle.
It is what it is. You can see it's had one hell of a rise. I see no reason for semiconductors to stop. Just to get exposure, to take away the risks, especially after a turbulent month here coming up. I believe that, yes, you could pick individual ones, and there'd be no harm in doing that. I still think you'd probably be on to a winner. For me, just to get that exposure at a high level and just to get some of these gains in a bit of a safe haven, I recommend going towards the ETF ETF and average it in. I'm going to average in this whole month. I'm hoping that there'll be pullbacks, as I said. Average in and then hold this for a long term. So guys, love to hear your thoughts. Please leave them in the comment section. Please like, please subscribe, grow the channel, check out the writer's article, get me on the Instagram, BHSDMV. Get the free link in the bio below for free share. We both get a free share. It's important to have, don't forget, diversity. So at the same time, you should have different portfolios, different accounts. I have 4 different brokers and free share is one of them. Make sure to get on it, guys, and just expand your things out, okay? Thanks for listening. Until next time. Yeah.
Peace.
Yeah.
Coincidence.
Something that happens by chance, I think not.